Well, I'm going to take a moment and jump on the iPhone review bandwagon here and give y'all my 2 cents on a product I've not touched yet. The first thing that I wanted to say is that you got to feel sorry for Steve Jobs just a little bit. I mean, the guy had this awesome product. He was ready to drop a bombshell on the world and show everybody, look what we've been working on. And it was ruined, honestly. I mean, it's awesome that you kind of get this leaked information so that you can not upgrade. I had an uncle who called me up on the phone from Hawaii and said, "Hey, I'm in the AT&T store fixing to get a 3GS." And I told him flat out. He had me on speakerphone with the AT&T people, and I said, "Don't in 1 month or so, there'll be a new one." And sure enough, it's been 4 weeks since he called me, and here's the new iPhone. So there's a good side and a bad side, but the bad side is that Steve can't stand up there and show you anything cool because you've already seen it. It's like ruining Christmas. It's if you know what your presents are, Christmas isn't fun. If you know you have a surprise birthday party coming up, it's not a surprise. Um, I don't know. I just felt bad. It's a give and a take. I mean, y'all let me know what y'all think. But anyway, first thing is AT&T has been very generous to the 3GS owners. You can get an early 6-month upgrade, something they didn't do for us 3G owners. So a lot of people out there are going to be like me. Y'all have held on to a 3G, your 2-year contract is up, and now you're fully eligible for a new iPhone 4. It is a huge jump forward over the 3G, and you're going to definitely tell that there's a difference between your old iPhone and the new iPhone. This little breakdown chart right here lets you know, and remember for all you 3G owners, that the 3GS was for speed, so it had a faster processor and more RAM and stuff like that, and it even got a better bump on battery life. The iPhone 4 has more RAM, a faster processor, better talk time than even the 3GS had. So, I mean, obviously, I would like to know some numbers on what the battery life is compared to the 3G. Storage has been bumped as well. Now 16 gigs at the $199 price point. $299 will get you the 32 gigs. 5 megapixels, HD video, iMovie for iPhone. That is going to just, I'm buying that almost certainly. And then, of course, you have a much higher resolution screen, which everyone can appreciate. I know it's on the same size screen, and there's been a lot of speculation about why maybe they should have gone the way that the HTC Evo 4G has and go with a slightly larger phone. And when I hold that phone in my hand, I really do appreciate the size of the screen. But I think we're going to really appreciate the size over all of our new iPhones, as well as the pixel density that we're going to see on that screen, because I definitely appreciate pixel density. A finer resolution is just going to make pictures, images, everything pops a lot more. When you get it in your hands, you'll see it. And I'll do a side-by-side whenever this thing shows up. I'm going to be pre-ordering on the 15th, like many of you guys need to. And in fact, I'm a little torn on what color I should get. Should I get a white one? Should I get a black one? Let me know what you think. Tell me. But anyway, I'll post a link to this so you guys can take a look at it. The other thing is the market share. Now, I'm going to try to keep this video as short as possible, and I know that I'm going to miss some things. But what I wanted to get a point across here with this is everybody harps on Apple and harps on AT&T, and then wants to I don't even know the good word to say this, but build up basically Android for a second. And I want to kind of take a moment to kind of tear some of the thoughts here down. This is basically a response by Steve to the fact that Android outsold for once, I think for a month or a market or whatever, I forgot. They outsold the iPhone, but 35% of the market share is RIM, that's BlackBerry, and I'll get to why I'm including them in a minute. 28% is the iPhone, and then 9% is Android. Now, take a second here and wrap your head around this. 28% is iPhone. That's one single solitary phone on one network. as a shareholder, you and me and everybody else is probably going to be sitting there going like, please release it to T-Mobile and Verizon and Sprint and everybody else, even though I couldn't imagine why you'd want to put it on Sprint. But, you know, whatever, so that the market penetration is there. That's more money. The point, though, is Android has a total, and I had to write this down, so I'm reading this. 17 phones, 5 phones on Verizon, 6 phones on T-Mobile, 1 on AT&T, 4 on Sprint, and 1 on Autel. So how is Android competing? Android's competing in volume. They only with 17 phones, they only have a total of 9%. Now that's going to grow, obviously. I mean, and the reason that Android is growing is because people don't want to have a Windows mobile phone. Honestly, BlackBerry's got terrible interfaces even to this day. God, I hate BlackBerry. Just using it is atrocious. Anyway, the the point though is that if you walk into a Sprint store or to a Verizon store and you go, I want a phone like an iPhone, what do I get? And you pretty much are going to be told, get an Android phone because it's the only other thing that's got a mobile app store. And that's what you're going to go with. So it's going to start doing better. And I think Steve Jobs has also realized that. I think Apple as a company is going to respond to that. I don't know when the exclusivity deal with AT&T is. I've started rambling. Let's move on to the next subject. But that's kind of what the point of that is. You can comment and tell me what you want to do, and I'll post another reply. The next thing I wanted to talk about was just browser usage. And this is just going to show you go from 28% of the market share. Look at how much they use. They use 58.2% of the market of internet usage on a browser, on Safari. 22.7% is Android. In that situation, I wanted to take a moment to say props to the Android users out there because I would have thought that y'all would have had a little bit lower than that. But I'm actually very surprised to see that y'all are on the phone using it and not just going, oh, well, I don't want the data plan, because I hear a lot of people complain about how I'd buy an iPhone if I didn't have to have the data plan. Well, that's kind of the point of having the stupid phone anyway. I digress. And here's why I wanted to tie in the BlackBerry. I told you using it is atrocious and terrible. The users silently are speaking to that. 12.7%. They own most of the market. 35% of it is theirs. And they use under the percentage of ownership. Why? Because most of them have now started buying BlackBerries without the data plan. So the sales figures show that that it's going up, but the number of people that are using it are not business-related people, and they aren't people who actually use it because it has browser on it. They're posers. They're people who want to just look like they're important because they have a BlackBerry, and they're posers. So if you have a BlackBerry and you don't have a data plan, you are a poser. Get off of it. Go get you a little free flip phone, and don't tell me you use it for text messaging or anything else like that, because the majority of you, it's proof right here in the pudding, 12.7%, you're not using it. You're not on there. You're not browsing the web. You're not using your GPS. You're not using any of the junk that's built into that thing. Just stop buying it. Either buy a phone that actually does it, or if it sucks that bad that you don't want to use it, get a new phone. Okay, so now that I've made all the BlackBerry people mad, I'm going to post the link again, like I said, to the iPhone. This has gone on long enough. You guys tell me what color you think I should get. How big should I get? Should I get a 32 gig? Should I get a 16 gig? I don't really carry a lot of video, but I love to have tons and tons and tons of apps. And I also, I have like over 200 apps, and they're fairly useful. And some of them are, well, I'd say 30% are paid apps. But anyway, tell me what you think I should get. Oh, and subscribe. Later.